Yes, right. Okay, all right. So you're welcome again to our virtual session today. Today we are going to continue on when we stopped on Friday on the physical session. We had a brief introduction to graphic design and design in general. A very lengthy but needed discussion on design. You know, the elements and the principles of design and little things that you take note of when you're doing a design. Now that's very important because when you begin to create your designs, you would see that it is actually quite important, um, or create your animations rather. You will see that the knowledge of design will play a huge role, you know, in helping you create more captivating and more engaging content in your animation. All right. So it's like a very useful arsenal that you would have that would really help you. Capstone project. We're going to be doing a capstone project at the end of this program. And from here on, I want to see how we can begin to narrow down on getting you prepared for that. Because I think that's going to be very important when you go over to your respective internship places, you know, for those that are selected. Because it's going to really help you in the real world experience of when you actually start creating animation. So beyond just the theory, beyond just the courses, beyond just the the written stuff that we're talking about, we're gonna really try and see how we can be more practical, you know, and focus on what is relevant in the industry currently. So we don't just go about doing things that we could have done elsewhere, right? So I think one of the important things, you know, that this program really helps is to help um, with practicals, to help with really getting you involved in how things are in the industry, right? So you are not beating around the bush. You know exactly what you're expecting. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna just try to like focus on from now on. So I would say first of all that I hope we have gone through our resources. I shared a lot of resources last week. Yeah, last week. Like a lot of resources. I shared a lot of tutorials on After Effects, on Blender, on animation, just a lot of things, right? And probably you've not gone through everything. I know I shared a lot of things. You know, I shared a book. I'm not expecting that you finished the book last week, but I expect that you've probably gone through um the videos I sent. Um, I think the most relevant would be the After Effects, you know, tutorial. Because it's gonna really help you moving forward, especially in your capstone project. So please, if not done that, please go through it. So you will not be left behind. Basically, you will not be left behind. Okay. So what I want to talk about today. Today it's just going to be, like I said, the continuation of what we started last week. We began with design. I don't think I wouldn't really go over that again because we really had a lot of time to discuss it for us, as many of us that were actually present. Um, right. But today you could actually ask questions. Maybe when you went home, you discovered certain things, right? I know I said that we should go back home and like explore existing brands, you know, and just try to gain more experience in the real world examples. So probably you have questions. I mean today we can address those questions, and then we'll also see how we can continue with our After Effects class. Because that's actually one of the like the most important tools that we're going to use in this program or moving forward. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with After Effects, please begin to familiarize yourself with it. Um, I shared a tutorial. I'm sure if you've watched that tutorial by now, we'll probably not have many questions because I'm just gonna talk about the basics of After Effects. So if we've actually gone through those resources, we won't have any problem. Which is why I said we should not neglect those resources. Okay, so what I'm going to do today, I'm going to continue of where we stopped. Last week we were talking about design, and then we had a suggestion that we should have a design of. I think someone suggested like a fruit, advert, right? A flyer. I think it was Chivita or something like that. So that was the idea that was brought forth, and we all agreed. So we were trying to come up with different ideas and concepts for a quick flyer for a food advert, right? So we're saying, okay, imagine Chivita called you up and you're like, we want a design or we want an advert for our new 50 cl bottle, right? So they give you the copy and you're like, we want you to create an advert for this. And that advert is going to be put on social media, Instagram. So how do you go about it? Like, how do you begin? Right. So last week we talked about using from the design class we had, we were able to break down our composition into boxes, right? So we're able to figure out the layout of our design. Essentially, we had the layouts that we began working with in After Effects, which we're going to continue today. Right, we want to continue that today. So let me give a quick example of what I'm talking about here. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let's try this. So this is an example of this is an example of like a flyer for a fruit brand, basically. Very simple. Um we have the text. What I'll do is that I'll go over this and I'll break it down quickly. Let's see. Let me quickly open this up. So we talked about breaking down our design. Now this design is sort of like a very symmetrical design because it's very, very, if you were to draw a line between the vertical axis here, just give me a minute. Okay, so let's import that into here. So now mind you, I'm opening the software just to demonstrate, so you don't have to have the software. I just demonstrate something with you. Okay, so let's say we have, so this is a design. Let me reduce the opacity a bit so you can see. So let's break down this design like we did last time or last week. Let me use red. Okay, let's increase the brush size a bit. Okay, so we have, so from this design we can just simply break it down into different shapes like squares. So we have this main title here, right? Then we'll have the like a second header. Then we have the main subject here. Let's just give it a shape here. Just assume that this is what we're going with, right? So it's something that down here. So I just assume that that's the basic concept. So basically, this is what we have. This is the layout of that design. So I talked about being able to break down designs and really understand how. Okay. All right. So I talked about being able to look at designs and break them down, right? Break them down to understand how those things are formed. We talked about composition. We had many examples of symmetrical designs. We talked about asymmetrical designs. if you remember what we discussed last week in our physical class. So when we look at this design, we can see that there is when we break it down, I think we forgot this. So this is like the logo or something. So I just have something rough here, just to have those basic shapes to see what our eyes are. So we can see that this is a very symmetrical design. Just it's identical from this to here. The same. It's very symmetrical, right? Very, very symmetrical. So from this design, we can break it down and know why it works, right? We can know why it works. Remember, I said in our last class that if it doesn't work here, it cannot work in your final design. So looking at this, I can see it looks good, it looks okay, right? It doesn't look confusing. They give enough space, enough emphasis. We talked about dominance, right? Talked about, emphasizing things, contrast, right? Contrast by size, for example. Although it was about color, but dominance. When said that, how we can give more emphasis to elements in our design, by size. So from this, we can see that this is the main subject. This is where the bottles were and the cups. So you can see how large it is compared to the other objects, which is why, you know, it's very obvious. Then we have our main header here, then some extra stuff around here. So this is another example of how we can break down a design to see why it works. So because it works here, they were able to really translate that into something you can have, and we just see it like a design. But if you just take it like a design, you don't really study it from the basics, from the fundamentals of how we discussed last week. You're going to really lose out on, why something would work. And it's going to also help you to be able to create your own designs when you are able to break down things that you can see, right? If you just see a design and you don't know why it works, you just say that, oh, I like the design. But as someone who should be creative and observant, you know, you should be able to say, okay, this is the reason why this thing works because of so and so and so and so, right? So let me give another example. Let's use this. So I'm just trying to give snippets of what we might be working on. So this is another example. So let's say we have so let's look at this very closely. So let's study this example. So you can see that we have the main. So this is the main design here, but this is just like a zoomed in version of the um of the main subject. But let's look at this for a second. Let me adjust. Let's move it here. So you can see that the main subject here actually is this. Let's do what we did before. Let me reduce it a bit so you can color right and see. So how do I do this now? So if you don't have Photoshop, you don't have Affinity, you don't have any design softwares, you can actually just take your piece of paper, right? Um, trace it out and begin to draw the squares to really help you see how it works. So now let's look at this example. So let's say we have this is our main. Let's say we have this is like the main stuff. Let's just draw a square around because like same thing. Then we have the bottle itself. This is bottle itself. It's just looks like this. Then we have the bottle here. Um, then we have the footer here. I just adjust this. I think it's quite simple. We're just going to ignore the extra stuff because that's not really what's relevant here. If this wasn't if this wasn't done correctly, this or that would just look like it just look very confusing. Because we're able to literally emphasize dominance, with these other elements. These things are just additional stuff. You can actually work without it, right? So this is the emphasis. This is the main text, subject, and then like a last footer. So you can see this quite simple, quite simple. Even from this, we can have our own design. We can copy this composition and create something brand new from this composition. See, the last one we talked about, this was more like a square. Now this is more like a portrait, size. So I'm just trying to demonstrate to you how design principles and fundamentals and elements of design can play out in an actual production or an actual design. Now, mind you, this is just about design. We've not talked about animating it yet, but that's why it's in levels. You build on the foundations. You don't just skip and just start doing many things. A good animator, right? Even if you are just going to be someone who's going to be doing like cartoon animation, drawing, like Disney cartoons and characters. If you know about how Disney animators, you know, um, let's say raised now, if you read that book that I shared on the group, you see that okay, they first begin with learning how to draw. They learn how to draw. They forget about animation. They don't talk about animation, right? They learn animation, human anatomy. They become good artists and designers, right? From then, they now build on that foundation and now begin to add animation. So when you are animating, you are not distracted by other things, right? You are not asking yourself, what color should I use? How should I do this? How should I draw this? Where should this thing be? No. When you're animating, right? When you are designing, you are designing. So there won't be conflict in your animation, right? So when you say, okay, I want to create an advert for this, or I want to do an animation about so and so, you already know how to do it. There's no struggle, right? You already know how to do it. So that's the same way. So that's why we're looking at design, so we can really know how to design, how to break apart designs. So from there we can now translate it, right, into an actual animation. Because you might say, oh, just teach me about how to make things move. In the practical world, I don't know of any job you can get practically, right? That they will just ask you to create an animation and they will give you an already created design. It's not there. It's not possible. I've never seen it before. What do you call that job? An animator? Like it doesn't really exist. Except you just want to learn it for fun, right? But if you're actually serious about actually being able to have this as a career or something that you can add to your portfolio, you know, based on what's in the industry, you will have to know how to put a design together. Then you can now animate it. So that's why I'm breaking this down for us. So it's quite clear. It's quite clear. And even from the extra we have here, you can see that we have, it's not just randomly placed. I will tell you the truth, it's not randomly placed. Let me show you something. Now, it might look like I'm just doing rubbish, but I'll give you a very quick secret in design that works 90% of the time. When we write, when we write, let me create a new canvas. Let me just demonstrate this for you. Let's say this is our notebook, right? We want to write something. Um, you know, Simbi is a girl, right? This is your notebook, and you just take out your pen and you begin to write Simbi. Simbi is a girl. Um, sorry, a girl. And let's now say Simbi has two dogs. Oh, no, let's just say she has two dogs. She has two dogs. She is okay. Very simple. Now, if I were to ask you a question, if you look at this piece of paper or this write-up, I'm not sure the first thing you will see is happy, right? Neither is it equal to, most likely to not be, might not be dog as well. Naturally, just by instinct, it will probably be the first letter you can see here, which is Simbi, right? Like normally, because we write from left to right, and we don't write from down to up, we write from up to down. So we have this invincible line, right? That guides our eyes when we look at something, which is here. After we read like this, we now go down here and we go like this, right? Then we go like this, then we go like this. It's an invincible line that we see. It's just that I'm drawing it out for you. You can actually now see how what's happening, right? So the eyes go like this, you know, right? From here to here to here to here to here. Now I'll tell you a fact, that I've personally observed through experience, that when we create designs, actually our eyes have the same pattern, or it is easier to make a design that follows this pattern. Designs that have this, okay, let me paraphrase that, what I just said. Designs that have this pattern look easier, or they look more appealing to the eyes. Yeah, exactly. So designs that have this pattern look more appealing to the eyes. So that's why when I came here, is that same pattern you are seeing here. Telling you, we have that same pattern. We have, even in this disorganized thing element you are seeing around here, these oranges that are flying around. There's a pattern to it, and I'm showing that pattern, which is the same Simbi thing we just drew just now, right? The same Z. It has this Z-like nature. Where you from here and you come here, you read, you come here, you read. So the same thing here too. It's naturally, because of the way it was arranged, it just has a natural pattern that looks more appealing to your eyes, right? I'm sure you can see what I'm saying. It's a very subtle thing, um, but the professionals know it, and that what also makes their designs look much better from the people that don't know. They just do it by mistake. So this is how you can make a design look good intentionally, not by mistake. Not that you just oh, it is fine, oh, it's fine, but you actually know what you're doing. So I said that because, first of all, the main element we have um is this fruit. We've already established the composition. See the boxes we drew, we're able to establish the main element. It's the biggest thing there. Then we have the like the header. Then we have the footer. Very, very basic design. Nothing spectacular. Right? So you see that when we broke it down, we could now really look behind and see what makes this thing look good. Then we now have these secondary elements that they didn't have to be there, but because it's there, right? It looks more exciting. It looks more, it tells the story more, because we are saying it's fresh juice. We're saying, it's 100% juice, it's oranges. So those things, make it look, tells the story more. Because like we said before, a design is, every design has a story that it wants to tell you, right? If you have a design and the story, and there's no story, that's not a design. That's just I don't know the word to call it. That's not a design. A design has a story to be told, right? There's a story to be told. And that's why sometimes, if this, this is actually a design as well. See me say, girl, this is actually a design. So if I were to print this out and put it on the road, or okay, let me use another example. Let me delete this, or let me create a new stuff here. So let's say someone lost his dog, and I'm like, lost lost dog, lost dog. If found, call +112. Thanks. This is a design because it's telling a story. It might not be a good design, right? But it's still a design because it's telling a story. It's passing a message to the audience. Now I could now say, okay, I want to make the design better. I will now start saying, okay, let's apply the principles of design, elements of design. Let's do dominance, let's do harmony, let's do different things. Let's add color, right? But I'm just trying to say that because if in the process of making your design more beautiful in quotes, you now lose the essence of this narrative. If I now look at your design and I don't even know that you are telling me that there's a dog that was lost, and if I found a dog, call this number. If in your process of making your design so wonderful, you have so many colors, so many elements, you know, and the text is so hidden, it's so disorganized. If at the end of your beautification, I lose the message, that's not a design anymore. It's better you just left it like this. You'll leave it like this. This is more of a successful design than a beautiful design that has lost its message. So I'm saying that because even in this design, there's a message that is being told. It's trying to convey and pass to you a message that this is something fresh. This is something that has to do with fruits. So everything is screaming fruits, fresh, fruits, fresh. The background color is orange. We talked about, meanings of colors in our last class. We said if we have this very corporate, serious, we can't be having saturated colors, right? But this is a very fun, exciting, fresh. So of course we use orange, and it's actually even an orange too, but we use a very saturated orange because it looks juicy, it looks fresh, right? Then we're also having elements of even in the can itself, we have those elements playing across. We even have things like green, you know. I remember our last class when we talked about colors that go together. You see that orange and green actually go together. If you check the color wheel, like we discussed, there's a harmony there. Orange and green go together. That's why the colors look good. Doesn't look disgusting because of the color harmony that was used. Then when we now even talk about the other elements, the splash of, it looks exciting, it looks fresh. We have fruits that are furthermore emphasizing and re-emphasizing the narrative that this is fresh orange juice. I'm sure that's very clear. Um, okay, so let's continue. I think the last thing we'll look at is this last design here. Then you would move into After Effects. So same thing here. We have another one too. Um, see the same orange, green, fresh, bright colors. When we look at the composition as well, it's still quite interesting. Very interesting. Let's see how we can break it down too. So I would encourage us that when we are done with this class, just go on internet. Yeah, many just type, flyer or something, e-flyer or whatever niche you want. Maybe technology flyers or something like that, or fresh fruits designs. Now download them or just check them out online and just begin to break down the designs. How was this thing done? You know, break it down. You begin to see many things that you probably did not see before. So let's look at this one too. The same thing. We have let me use red color so it will show. We have our main like a main subject here. Just draw like this. So I'll say maybe the bottom is like the main thing. No, let's increase this like this. Okay, let's do it like this. Then we have smaller ones here, right? Then we'll have this basically broken down into two, right? And this is just a secondary element. But yeah, let's leave it for that. Let's look at this. You can see that this is more like an asymmetric design, because you have it's not like a perfect mirror. The other ones were like very, very mirrored, like, oh, you draw a straight line now. It's almost like the same thing that we have on both sides, right? Same thing here too. But this is more like a different. We have, you see the play, the plane balance. can see it. Can see it, right? Then let's even talk about the last secret I told you guys, the one about the way we read that Z nature, right? So we have like we can see that. So when the eyes are looking, it's like just easy. So nice to just come here, right? Then probably comes like this, and then comes like this. See the simple, see the very effective pattern. You see the invisible line that happens when we look at things. So I don't know if we've seen this. There's this thing I was going about some weeks ago of a flyer. No, it was like a good designer knows how to direct the eyes of the audience. That this is the first thing you look at, and this is the second thing, this is the third thing, this is the fourth thing. So a good designer will know that, maybe somewhere around here, and I think it's even intentional. You can even see the way they emphasize this. By the time you draw this line, you begin to see why things are the way they are. This tree is not even so much. You're trying to follow this pattern, this rhythm. I think the best thing I would say is by the time you begin to explore this and you begin to create your own designs, you now have a flair for how to really make it work, right? Because it's just by experience that you can really have the skills. Really, I'm just giving you the foundation. And some of these things is it's not even like it was taught per se. It's just through experience I discovered some of these things, and that's the same way. There are so many other things too that are there, just that we don't know that are there. You can even look at this bottle, the color. It's different from this. So I don't know. It creates a very nice, easy, readable. You know, it's so easy to look at. It's not looking confusing. At least in my opinion, it's not looking confusing because the person was able to really, really, really pay attention to those designs. You know, then even if we talk about the rule of thirds, we talked about that in our last physical class when we had like a grid line. There are so many things that we can just use to guide us in our design. It's not really a one by one rule that you must follow it exactly, but this is will help your design. Even when we want to like, you know, let's say we want to do like something like this now, where we like divide it into, equal, what they call it now, equal squares, something like that. Oh no, my hand is just shaking. Okay, let's just leave it like this. So even something like now, you know, I talked about, the focus points, right? Even here, you can see that they are, it's well balanced, right? It's balanced. It's balanced. Even you can even see that where this bottle, where the table, was, the table, like the line of that table, sort of perfectly matches with the grid line here. You know, these things are just so the person able to use these three things to create a design. But the first thing I would say is what made it work first was the composition. This it doesn't look confusing, it looks simple. So obviously when I have a design that follows this simple composition, it will look okay if I don't mess it up, you know. Then the extra things are just additional flair. You just put, okay, how should I put this? You know. Okay, I think I've talked enough. So we can move on to After Effects and continue with our design. Or I want to really introduce After Effects more today. But if are there any questions before I continue? Any questions, contributions before I continue? If not, I would proceed. Any? Okay. All right. So I move ahead then. Okay, so we would let's see. So I think last time we were in After Effects. Yeah, so please, as you're on this meeting, please fill in that attendance form. Just check the chat section of this call, of this Zoom call. There's a link there. click that link and fill in your attendance. Fill in your attendance. Don't forget. That's very important. All right. Okay, so let's open After Effects. If you also have After Effects, you can open it there so we can work together. So I think last week we were talking about a fruit advert. Let's say like Chivita wants to do a fruit advert, right? And these are our composition. This was what we were trying to do. So these are like the boxes I was drawing just now. So I'm trying to like figure out the layout of our design. So I know we said, okay, we're going to have like a header here, right? Then here will just be like maybe call to action, buy now, something like that. Then here will be our main subject. Maybe the bottle will be here. Chivita bottle will be here, right? Yeah. So I think this is a good design. It's just simple and it's quite effective. So what I'll do for the sake of people that were not there, probably, I'll create a new composition and start again. So follow along because I want us to really get After Effects. We have to know how to use the software. This is like the most important thing you actually have to learn. So please pay attention. If you have your computer here, you can follow along. I would advise that you do so. So if you run into any questions or problems, you can address it right now. So let me just create, for the sake of, let me create a new composition. So you can, so I said when you open After Effects, so if you were actually starting from scratch, when you go to your project, new project, then you will see, you click on new composition. There will be a very big button here. So you just click new composition, or you can go over here and click new composition, or just press Ctrl N. So you have this pop-up window here. Um, the name doesn't matter. Any name is fine. The main thing you want to do is the aspect ratio. I don't know that we've talked about this before, but aspect ratio just simply means, the shape basically. So when we say 1:1 aspect ratio, it means it's a square, right? So we want a 1:1 aspect ratio. So it doesn't matter whether it's 500 by 500, 2000 by 2000. We just want a square because of like in Instagram, social media, they usually prefer, square format. So that's why we just work with square. So that we just be on the safe side. So we'll have, so I think I went with 1920 by 1920. Then you can ignore the other things here. You can just adjust this to 24 frames per second. When we talked about animation principles, I said that, the standard frame rates for animation is 24. So let's leave that at 24. You can ignore these other things here. This is for the background color. Not that relevant because we're going to change it to just ignore every other thing. Focus on the size and the frame rate. Then it's okay. So we have a new blank composition. Okay, so first of all, let me just create a new background. Now if your own doesn't have this checker background, it's probably because it's not selected here. So depending on your version, I think someone had the version that was a bit different. I think her own was here. I think that was Taiwo or something. I think your own toggle was somewhere around here. But just check this.
Yes.
Yes. So just check this window here. Look for the thing that has this icon, this sort of checkerboard icon. If you toggle it, so this is actually, I prefer to leave my own on. When it's on, it's blue. It has this blue color when it's on. So this shows that there is no background, there's no color actually, there's nothing. This is just a temporary background for After Effects. So, but when you render it out as a video, this is actually what you might not see this, but it's going to just be empty, blank. So I prefer to just have this on so I won't be confused. So I know that okay, there's actually nothing on my canvas. So when you have this on, this is our window, our main window where we work, all so this is whatever we're doing. If it doesn't appear in this window, it's not going to be exported, right? So this is where we do all our work. It's like our canvas, like our drawing pad, it's our paper. Right. So what I'll do is that I'll create a new, let me create a new shape. I think I told us in our first meeting about how to create shapes, but I'll do it again here. So you can see that we have that many tools here. We have move tool, hand tool, zoom tool, So many tools, rotation tool, so many pen tool. But we're gonna just use this tool here, our shape tools. If you click and hold, right, that as in like you click it and hold it, you have different options for different shapes. But I'll just go with my rectangle, basic rectangle tool. Once you click anything here, they're going to have different options here. You can see that. Just watch this. You see that these things are changing. See these things here that are changing. This, see it has changed again. This, you can see it. So it's a dynamic thing depending on what you have selected. So now when you click your shape tool, it will change. You will see fill and stroke. So it's telling you that what color do you want this fill to be or this shape to be? So actually I want it to be a white, but I can change the color from here, right? So I'll just use white, press OK. Then I like, do you want it to have strokes? You know what a stroke is now? Like at the edge of the shape, should it have like a line? I don't want any stroke. But if I actually wanted, I'll click it and I'll select maybe 3, 4, or whatever size I want. But I don't want any strokes. So I'll just undo that. Oh no, wait, sorry. Let me disable that. So another quick trick in After Effects, if you have see these two things here, if you hold your alternate button on your keyboard, alternate, the one that has ALT, if you hold it down, right, and you click on this color, for example, fill color, what happens is that it changes the mode to a different mode. Now you can see that it has this kind of, it looks different now, right? So if I remove my hand from the alternate key and press it now, normally, it will open up our gradient menu right here. So like, like there's something that you see that maybe it has like different colors, like it's blended together, right? This is how you can add they call it a gradient. It means that it's fading from one color to another color, right? So it's fading from this color. So let's say let it fade from red to blue. So I'll click this, come over here. No, wait, sorry. Let's delete that. Click this and we'll use blue. So now the shape, if I were to create a shape, it will have this sort of fade from red to blue. I can adjust the midpoint, right? So let me show you. Let me just give an example. Okay. Let me draw my shape so you can see. So you can see it, right? It has this fade. I can now even say, okay, I want to further adjust it. I can do that by just simply coming over here, and tweaking it a bit. Let's see. Um, Basically we can fine tune it from here, essentially, you know. Okay, then we also have, so if I hold my alternate button again, I click this color here, it will change to a different kind of gradient. This one is more like what's the word? Like a circular gradient. So let me show you. So remove my from your alternate key. Let me click it. Still the same look, the same, but I have 3 colors now. I can actually have 3 colors. So this is what color will be at the middle, what color will be at the 2 edges. So let me just give an example. Let's say the middle is going to be white. So let me give it white. So now let me draw. Oh no, sorry, not middle. So let me click that again. I think the middle is the one for this. So we can always go back and adjust if you want. So let me just say, let me try this instead. So now can see this. So I can adjust, I can increase the size of this, I can do anything that I want to it. But I'm just showing you how you can. So if I press alternate again, it should have no color, empty color. So I'll just draw an empty shape without any color. If I press alternate again and click, I'll have a flat color, like when we started off from the beginning. So I actually want just a flat color. I don't want any confusing stuff. So I want just white, plain white. So once I have that selected, I don't want any stroke. So I'll hold alternate, right, on our stroke till I have nothing, empty. I don't want anything. Okay, so we're good. So I'll draw the shape. So this is just going to be my background. So I would advise, now let me show you something very, very important. Very, very important. This is our layer stack. This is where all our layers will be. You know what they call a layer? Like I said, it's like a piece of paper. So you can stack layers on top of each other, right? So if you have many layers here, it's the one that is above that will show above here, right? I will show you a practical example, but just stay with me. So now let's draw now as I'm drawing this in now, I want you to watch here what happens here. You see it's empty now, right? There's nothing here. It's all empty. But the moment I draw something here, now you can see what happened. This thing just appeared all of a sudden, right? This is our first layer. So it's called a shape layer, as you can see here. Shape layer one. Now, don't be confused. This is not 4D, this is one thing. You see this arrow here? This is a drop down arrow. These are just the properties of this shape, right? So don't feel like you have many things. It's just one thing you have here. If I click this thing now, you see that it's just one layer, right? These are just the properties, like the extra options, right? And this you will know more about this later on when you like go into some advanced stuff. But literally, just close it up. You have one layer, which is your shape layer, which is the background in my own case now, right? So I usually don't want you to have this thing opened up because what happened now, let me show you what a mistake that you probably if I saw us making a mistake in class, which is why I'm talking about it now. When we had um when we had a shape, now mind you, this shape is still selected because it's still selected here. If I were to have my shape selected, now pay attention, please. If I have my shape selected, and if I were to draw another shape again, what will happen there? It would add that shape to the properties of this shape. You see, we have a rectangle inside the shape layer, right? Let me now draw a star. Let me add a star now. Now, just watch you. I have this thing selected. If I draw, or let me make the star dark, but let me make it star red. No, wait, sorry, it's still selected. I don't want to change the color of that thing. So let's draw it first, then we'll change the color after. So let's open it up first. Let's see content. So rectangle, okay. So let's draw our star. Now, you see what happened? Content that added the second thing, holy star and rectangle inside this one shape layer, which is a mistake actually. This is not the best thing that you should do. So I saw us making a mistake. That's why I'm focusing on it because this is not actually how you should do it. The best thing you should do, because now it's like you have two shapes inside one shape. It's quite confusing. It's quite confusing. You have to now be clicking here. You now use your select tool. You now be clicking double tap, double tap. Like you don't even know what you are selecting again. So it's quite bad. So what I would advise that when you create a shape, right? So let me start from the beginning now. Let's create a square like before, a rectangle like before, like this. I would advise that once you have created your shape, just with peace of mind, deselect it. So you can do that by doing two things. You can click any random empty space here to deselect it. So it's no longer selected again. Or you can you can use your move tool, that's press this thing here or press V on your keyboard and click anywhere, any random place, to deselect it. So now it's no longer selected. So if I were to draw another shape, you know, let me expand this thing first. So so if I were to draw another shape, now mind you, I've not selected the shape, it's still like nothing is selected. If I draw another shape now you see what happens. You now have a second shape layer. You did not create this thing inside this thing. Before when we had it selected, they were both inside here, which is not correct. So now we now have two shape layers, which is very, very clear, right? So that's why I prefer that you collapse this thing so that it won't confuse you. So we have the rectangle and the star. Very, very clear. When we talk about mask, creating mask, you see how this is very important. you know. So you can see we have two shapes. Very clear. Okay. So I want to change the color of my star. Let me use my, I can just select this, click here, change the color. I want to move it. So how do I move the star? I don't like it how it's in this place. I use my move tool or selection tool, as you call it. Drag it and move it here. I want to rotate to the side. I don't like how I want it to be in the other direction. Use my rotation tool. Rotation tool. Rotate it. I don't like the size. I want it to be smaller than this. I can use the same selection tool as well. Click that. See these edges? Now I can drag and reduce the size. Now you see as I'm dragging it, it doesn't retain its form. The form can be broken. If I want to keep the form as I'm reducing the size, I just hold shift key on the keyboard, shift. So when I drag it, it's going to be the same form. It's not going to break its form. So that's how we can have a star, you know, in our um in our canvas. Okay, so I think we're clear on that. Any questions before I proceed? No questions, then I'll continue. Okay, so now we're gonna just quickly do so let me remove this star. I don't actually want that star. I just want this background. So I can actually you can rename it. So I don't want it to be called Shapely. I want it to be called background. So I'll just right click, right? And see rename. I rename it. Let me just call it background because I like my things to be very organized. So this is my background. Very simple. Okay, so I think that's good. So you can see our timeline here. Remember our animation, introduction. This is our timeline. You can see that the time, this is 15 seconds, 30 seconds. So this shape lasts for, you can even see the time here too. Time will be increasing. So it lasts for about how many seconds? 9 seconds. So let's say I want to last for 15 seconds. I just drag it. So yeah. So I think I want to last throughout the entire scene. So then I also want okay, yeah, I think that we'll just leave it like that for now. Okay, so let's quickly do our layout like we did before. Like this. So I want to create a layout quickly. So I'll select, right? Select, okay, selected. Use my rectangle tool. Let's draw. Let's just use. So let's say our Chivita bottle. This is our subject. Our Chivita bottle will be maybe slanted like this, just like this. Then let me reduce the size of this a little bit. Do something like this. Yeah, that's fine. Then we'll have our. I'll select again. We'll have uh a header name title here. Let me adjust the size. Then we'll now have like a final call to action somewhere. Let me hide these extra things. A call to action somewhere around here. So if you make a mistake, you can always press Ctrl Z. Okay, yeah, so let's just say this is our basic design. Okay, so now we are going to let's see. We're going to see how we can create a quick design from this. So this is just like what's the word now? It's just a draft. It's a sketch, right? Just to guide us. So now, what we can do, you know, let's say we want to group these things together. Now, I'll introduce you to a new concept called composition. And I know we know of composition before now, like creating a composition. But in After Effects, compositions can be groups, per se. So I can actually make these three shapes into one composition. So now let me show you what will happen. So I'll select these three, one, two, three. right click and pre-compose. You can see here, pre-compose. Click that to ask you, wait, where's my this thing? Okay, okay. So now that window. So you should bring up this pop-up stuff. What name do you want to call it? I'll just call it ships. Let me just call it ships. So you just imagine that we're trying to group them together, right? Okay. Now see what happened. They became one layer. These three things now are one layer. See this eye here. Let's put it off. You see that these shapes have become one layer. So that's what a pre-composition means. It means that you can actually group things together. And what I like about this thing is that if I double click on these shapes that I just created now, this composition or this pre-composition, if I open it up, we still have those three layers, but they are inside that pre-composition. I don't know if you understand. So let me go back to our main composition here. So we have shapes like a group inside. They are still here. I can still edit them if I want. I just did because I want to make it a bit more organized. So our shapes are inside this place. A very quick secret. Well, not a secret. I mean, it's a very beginner thing. But I told you about this drop down. So this is where you can see the properties for each layer, right? So every layer has what they call opacity or transparency. That means that I want to make something a bit more transparent. I don't want it to be too opaque, right? I can do that with opacity property. So I just click this. You see transform, click that. You see all these options we have here. See all of them. Anchor, position, scale, rotation, opacity. These are all the properties of this layer, this shape layer that we have here. So we can actually even move the position of our shapes layer. You can do our normal selection to move here and drag and move, right? Because they are one group. But we can even also use here as well position. This is the x-axis and the y-axis. X means the horizontal axis. That's horizontal. Then y makes your vertical axis. If you did maths in secondary school or primary school, you probably know like x and y axis. So x-axis is the horizontal, y-axis is the vertical. So this is the x. So if we adjust this number, let's take and drag it. We can move things on the x-axis, right? Undo. Let's move it on the y-axis. So this is like if you want to look at the details of your layer, every layer has this option. Every layer. So I can even come here and adjust the scale as well. See, I can adjust the scale. Increase it or reduce it. And I can also rotate it too if I want. And I can now reduce what the opacity. So I want it to be a bit transparent. So I can just have it as a guide. Let it not distract me. Right? So let me close it up. So that's our properties here. So you open properties, you open transform, and you see all your properties. So let's hide that. Okay, so let's begin. So let me just quickly, for the sake of this lesson, we will just get a bottle online. So let us Google something. Let's just look for if you can find a Chivita bottle on Google, that would be nice. Okay, let's try my window here. Okay. Chivita
Please,
bottle.
sorry, please, how did you get together?
So you said, how did I what? I didn't get that. Someone asked a question. I didn't hear what you said. Can you just repeat it? You said, was that friend to me? Okay, I guess I'll just continue. Maybe when you are back, you can ask question again.
Yes,
So yeah.
the one asking. I said the three layers you meshed together. How did you select them together?
Okay, why did I say them together? Okay, yeah. So when you merge a layer, it becomes like one object. So if I were to move that layer, you're gonna move all of them at the same time. It's like a group. So nothing special. It just because it has been grouped. If I move it, it will move together, basically.
And no, like how
Mhm.
it didn't, initially
Okay, how did I merge it?
into one like into,
Okay, how did I merge it,
yeah,
right?
so you can move them together. So I'm like,
Okay, how
the
did I
initial stage, how did you, yeah, how did you
merge it?
select them? There was a way you selected the three of them one by one,
Okay, yeah, so you hold
them
your
together. So
control.
how did you select
So let me show you. So
them
how you can select things,
before you
in
go?
more than once. You just
Okay,
hold your control button on your keyboard. So you click this one, you hold your control button, like you leave it pressed. Just click whatever layer you want to select. So you will select all of them at the same time.
okay,
You do your normal, like Windows, when you want like select multiple files, you
thank
press
you.
control, and you just click, click, click. Yeah. Then you now do your right click and pre-compose. That's how I did it. I don't know if you got that. Did you get it?
Yes, I understand. Thank
All right. All right. So let's continue. So let's get our bottle. Let's get a nice Chivita bottle here. Let's see what can we use now. Actually, a lot of them. I didn't know they were actually online. Hmm. I just pick anything. So we'll not waste too much time. Let's pick a nice Chivita bottle. Let me see. Is it clear? I want the one that is clear. Let's look at this one. Hmm. Looks big enough. One still looks a bit blurry. Let's see this one. Nah, I don't want that. Let's see. Yeah, I like this. But cut off. I like this actually. Just not clear enough. Okay, so let me just something so I won't waste time. Let me pick this. I sort of like this. I will probably enhance it. So I will show you just quick sets you can use to quickly remove background and enhance. So let me download it first. All right, click download. So first website I would share with you is which one should I even use now, sir? Okay, let me show you a very new website that's quite nice. ClipDrop. So if you don't know before, you should know it now. So just go to www.clipdrop.co. I think I'll share this link to on our group. Clipdrop.co. So open it up. From here you can remove backgrounds and enhance images for free. So tools, let me select the tools. Let me use image upscaler. So that means I want to make the image bigger, clearer. So let me click here, select the image I want, and upscale. Oh, I have to sign in. All right, fine. Let me sign in first. They just added this feature. Okay, but it's still free, so it's fine. I will just sign in. Okay, so it's upscaling now. It's upscaling. Yeah, it's bigger now. Download. So you have a clearer version, a bigger version of the file. So I'll go back. I'll now use the background. What is that in self? Remove background. Click. There are actually many tools you can use. You don't have to use this one. This is just one I like using. So it's more of a personal preference. But I'll just give you a secret. No, not a secret. This company, Stability AI, are like the leaders in terms of AI and image processing. So this is probably the best result you will get because most companies actually use this software from on the back end. So this is like the main website where you get the result that you're looking for. So let's remove this background. Remove background. So yeah, background has been removed. Download it. So we have our first. So you can see here, we have our first. So this was the first one we downloaded. See how unclear it was, right? We now upscaled it, which gave us this. Let me zoom in. It's not even allowing me to zoom in. Why? No, wow, okay, that's fine. We don't need to see how clear you are. Then we now had the one that had the background, which is where are you? This one. So yeah, I think it's not really that clever. Let's just manage it for the sake of this class. Normally, they will probably give us these things. You know, if Chibita were actually giving us this work, you know, they will give us these images to work with. I remember there were time I was doing a design for Good Mama. You know, although I was to create a 3D 3D asset, but they gave me at least like the PNG files of Good Mama. Yeah, so I could actually work with that. So if you were doing like a work for Chivita, there's no way they won't give you these files, but I'm just trying to create something for the sake of this class. Okay, so let's say we want to import something to After Effects. How do we do that? So I want to import this bot to After Effects. So I can just simply drag and drop it here. Very, very simple. So remember, this is where all my assets are. See all those things we created before. The first composition is here. Second one, even our shapes, they're all here. This is like our bag or our assets file or folder where everything that we're working in is stored inside here. So if I want to add an image, I have to actually add the image here. So let me just drag. So this is the easiest method I do most times. Just drag and drop it. No stress, right? Or I can right click here. You see import. You now click import file. This is a longer method, but then you now look for where the file was. Download. Select the one. The same thing. Or you can just press Control I, and the same thing too. Select it. But because this is just more reasonable, just drag and drop. Okay, then it's really getting disorganized. Okay, so what we can do now, because even here you can actually organize this thing, so it will not be very confusing. Because imagine you have a project where you have like 100 images, 500 videos. You just imagine the chaos that how here would look like. So you can actually group these things. So I'm going to group this composition into a folder just for the sake of being organized. You don't have to, but I don't want confusion, so I'll just select these three of them and click create a new folder. Oh, sorry, I have to drag them inside. So I'll select these three, drag it inside here. So you see, three, drag and drop inside that folder. So they are all inside this folder. Doesn't change here, doesn't change our work. This is just for being organized here. This is what actually affects. This is just like a storage center, right? Now make a new folder for images. Let me call this one images. So every image I import will be stored here. Drag and drop it here. So now you can see we have two folders. Let me name this one compositions. So yeah, so let me hide that. Yeah, all the images are going to be stored here. So now from here, I can now drag it into my main, timeline. Now you can see our bottle. So I'm going to the thing we talked about how to increase the size. So remember that I told you that this thing has properties. So you can do it by two methods. We can use this our selection tool and just move it around, right? We can increase the size, hold shift to make the size uniform, right? Or we can use it by you can go to the properties, transform. The same properties we had, same thing we have here. So we can increase the size from here too. We can rotate it. Um so depends on what you want. So I'll just use the interactive method. So I'll just put it around here. Okay, so this is the first object we have. Then which other thing again? So let's have our header like a title. I can't remember what we wrote, what we said we were gonna write on this. I know we had a write-up we came up with. I can't remember what it was again. But let me check my notes if I have it stored. Let me check my notes. I think I wrote it down my notes. Where's my notepad? Mm, notes. Okay, here. So where are you? Where are you? Okay, so Chivita now available in 50 areas exactly. So now let me now show you the text tool. How can we create text? Because we are going to have text here. So this is our text tool here. Text tool. Click it, and yeah, you can simply. There are two ways you can go about this. First of all, you can create a text box. That's sort of like telling After Effects that this box should fit into this text. So I'm going to draw a text box. I'll just like have my text selected. I click and drag like this. See, it has created my text box. So whatever I type now will enter, it will enter this box. You can see it doesn't come out from that box. I can now adjust the size of the box, depending on what I want. That's one way of creating text. Second way is by just clicking it once and typing it, you know. But I prefer the second method. I mean, the first method because that one is more, I can tell where, the text will be. So I just click and drag first to draw my text box. So I know that, okay, this is where the text is going to be. I can now write the thing I want to write. So let's see. I think we said Chivita. Chivita. So now it's white. I can't really see. So now I think we talked about this because I want to zoom in now. I want to see what's here. It's too far. So you can use this tool here. You can magnify it here. You know, you can now use your hand to move. You can zoom in further if you want, or zoom out, however you want. Another quicker way is you can use your zoom tool. Use this. Zoom in, zoom in. Hold alternate, click, zoom out. Or the best way I would recommend, if you have a mouse, you just use your trackpad. Like, you have this scroll bar, just scroll in and scroll out. Or if you have a laptop as well, laptops have this trackpad as well. So you can zoom in, like pinch in or pinch out. That's how I prefer to just do it because I don't have time to start clicking all these many, many, many tools. So my selection tool select, I just use my trackpad and just zoom in and zoom out quickly. Then if I want to move, instead of using this tool, hand tool, I just hold your space bar button. It will temporarily enable the hand tool once the space bar is held. So I can now click and move anywhere. So once I release the space bar, it goes back to my normal tool. So that's a quicker way of navigating your canvas. To zoom out, just use your trackpad, just zoom in or zoom out. Just the same way you use your phone, the way you can zoom out on your phone, just zoom in or zoom out from there. Then hold your what do they call it now? Hold your space bar and navigate. So now I want to change the color of this text. Let's make it black for the sake of clarity. So how do I change the properties of this text? Like how do I, on our left side here, this is another very important thing that you should also consider. We have different options here. We have audio, preview, effects, align, libraries, so many tools that we can use here. Some of these tools are things I installed myself, but for example, effects and presets. These are where you find all the effects in After Effects. All of them are here. There are like too many to even talk about now. But let's just scroll down to we see character. So this is it might be like this, right? So you can actually click this and open them up. Any of these you can click them up, open them up. It's loading. It's a lot here. So yeah, I can see it. I can click it again. Come over to. So what I want now is character. So I click character. Let's scroll down. So this is how we can adjust our text, change our fonts. Change the color. This is the color of the fill. This is the color of the stroke of the font. You can change the size of the font. You can see. Click and drag. This is more for like paragraphs, but just ignore that. We can do so many edits all for our text. So I'm going to just change the color. So what you do is that you select your text, Come over here, click it, change the color to black. Okay. So now let's continue. Let's continue. My text tool. So Chivita, what was our write-up again? Chivita. No. Let's just say now available in 50 cl pack. Okay, so let me zoom out so you can see. So I want this text to occupy most of this space. So I'm going to select everything and increase the size from here. So you can see that the text now is looking weird. The what do you call it now? The spacing between the lines are too close. So that's this where this tool comes in. So you can adjust it here. So let's increase the gaps. It's too much. It's too small. I mean, let's just leave some around here. Okay. You can always fine tune this. Let me adjust this thing a bit. Okay, so let me use my move to move it down a bit. So yeah, then we'll now also have our call to action here, which is get yours now. If I'm not, yeah, get yours now. So what I can simply do, instead of having to write this thing again, I can just duplicate this text layer. So every layer can be duplicated. I can make a copy of it, right? So a simple shortcut, select any layer you want to duplicate and press Ctrl D. It will duplicate. So now you see we have two. Let me go back again so you can see it. Select it, Ctrl D. We have two, one, two. So let me move the second one down because I want to just write. But let me see. Have I even saved this? Okay, let me save it. So we'll now write what I write inside. Get yours now. Get yours now. So let's reduce this box, this text size. So now maybe you might just be here now. Maybe that thing is not showing. The text box is not showing. You have to make sure you have your text tool selected first before you can see the text box. Click it. This is our text box. This is the boundary of our text. So I'm going to adjust the boundary. So I don't want it to come out. Let me adjust. So I don't want it to come out. So let it just be ahead, something like this. So for now, let us go with this for now. We can always find changes. Yeah, so we're going to disable. Let me disable my shapes. So let me see the design for what it is. Very simple design. Chivita now available in 50 CL per. Get yours now. Yeah, simple. Let's try and add more interesting elements to our design. Let me look for like a splash of water or something. So you know that thing I told you about, that Z stuff. When I been mentioned about this principle, we have this sort of line going across, right? I showed you examples in this our design. So I'm going to try and implement this now in this design because I want to have so after I read this text, I want the water to guide the users here, they now come like this. So you have this Z shape. So when you read here, you come like this, then you now look at this get yours now. So this sort of shape, right? So to bridge this gap, this empty space, I'm thinking of adding a sort of splash of like juice coming out from the bottle. So let's just see if we can get an image for that on Google. Okay. Let's see. Let's just write water splash, juice splash. Let's see if we can get juice splash. Yeah, this is already looking nice. Which one will we use now? I want the one that has white background, so we can remove the background easily. It's also sort of like this. It's not bad, but it's so small. So small. Let me picture this thing is here. How would it look like? Let's see. Is there any other option? This one is not bad too, but it's looking too cartoonish. Let's see. Let's look at this. Let's see. So I'm trying to show you how maybe if you were doing your own design, how you probably just go about it. Let's say you don't know how to create these things yourself. So there are a lot of free resources online that you can actually just use without stressing yourself. Um, let's try more. Let's try more. Let's see. Not bad. Hmm. Let me see this. Sort of like this design looks. It looks quite large too. So many things to pick from. But I'm trying to see how I can put a design within here. Okay, let's just try design. Let's see how it looks like. Let's download it. Let's download this image. Um, let's now remove the background. Let's go to our clip drop website. Um, remove background. Remove background. Oh, okay, no problem. Oh, wait, so this one even has watermark. I didn't even see it before. I didn't see this before. Is it showing? It looks it actually has watermark. I didn't see that before. Okay, let's try this other website again. The one I that you can check out too for removing watermark. It's just a very hacky, example I'm just trying to give. Um, but let's play around. Let's see. Let's try and remove this watermark first of all. So watermark.io. Let's select our image. This is for educational purposes. Disclaimer. Okay, so I think it's removing the it's uploading. Hopefully. So we're going to be done very soon. By 7 o'clock, we're going to be done with this class. Yeah. So we're just trying to wrap up now. Trying to wrap up now. Okay. So remove logo on. Let's remove the logo. So next week when we talk about using Canva, probably we'll do some designs in Canva, right? And import them to After Effects and now begin to explore how to animate them. But now I'm just showing how you could probably do your own designs if you want to. Okay, I think it has removed the watermarks from here. Yeah, this looks okay. So let me download it. No, seriously, this people have changed. So I now have to sign up. That's interesting. They were not like this before. I think I might just use what I have. I don't want to waste too much time on this. Okay, let's just quickly try and see. It doesn't work. You just have to has not completed blah blah blah. Okay, so that's fine. Let's just work with what we have. So we don't waste too much time. This is not a perfect example, because we don't have all the resources that we need. But I think it's a good first what's the word now? Class. So you have a general idea, essentially. So you look for good images that you want. So let's just go with this one now. So I'll drag and drop it in my project. Drag and drop it here in my images. And I would import it here too. So let me import it here. Now you can see we have our splash. Now you see what I told you about layers. Now you can look at this splash. You see it's behind the bottle, right? It's behind the bottle. Why? Why is that so? Because in the layer stack, this is the bottle. This is the splash. The splash is under the bottle. So definitely it's going to appear under in our canvas. So if I want it to appear on top, what do I do? Is that I would drag this and put it on top of our bottle. Now it appears on top. So I'm sure now you understand how these layers work. So the things that are above will always appear on top of things that are under. Very, very simple. But in this case, I think I actually wants to be behind it. So let me drag it behind it. Yeah. Then let me increase the size a bit. So it's like this. So let me maybe I'll rotate it. Let me come to it. Quickly rotate it. Okay. Yeah. So we have a very, you know, very hacky, quick design. So now the essence of what I did today was to show you how you can assemble your designs from a sketch. Now I can actually make this better by maybe changing the color of the background. Maybe like our example, we saw a lot of fresh colors. So maybe I'll use orange for our background, to bring out, you know, that freshness. That's something that we can actually do. You can literally work on everything. So I can change the color of the background. So like, okay, like this I want. So I'll click my background, click here, fill, maybe pick an orange, right? Orange color. I can even select colors from the screen using this eyedropper tool here. If you click it, anything you have selected, it will change the color, you know, it will set that color. So I'm just giving an example. Let's say I want this color, so I can literally just change the color to what also I want, essentially. And it would I can even say, okay, I want a gradient. I don't want a flat color. So let's say, oh, okay, I select alternate click, right? Um, I can say, okay, change the color. Um, let me delete this one. I only want two colors. So let's say I want orange eyedropper. I want a dark, then I want a lighter one. Then yeah, maybe I want. Hmm, let me not waste too much time on this. So essentially, I can tweak it. So let us go with this for now. So now, what I want, let's say I want to. So this is the final thing I will do before we end today. I'll show you how we can make things move quickly, like an introduction to what we'll do next week. First of all, you can see that these are all our objects are in our timeline. I can actually adjust the length or the duration of it. So I can say, okay, I want this object to last to the end of so I can just select all of them at once. This three, one, two, three, drag it. So when I play it, see the timeline is moving. So let's say I want things to happen. I want things to move, right? Let me just show you how you can quickly do that. You go to our settings, our properties. So this is how you can make animate things. A very brief introduction to the animation of things. So let's start with our bottom. This is our bottom. I would expand it. This is the bottom. Okay, now the bottom. I would expand it. Then I would you see this position. Remember I told you how you can adjust on the X and Y axis, right? Now, everything that can be animated has this icon here. It's like a stopwatch icon. If you click that, you see what happened here? It created a keyframe. Remember we talked about keyframes and frames. So anywhere you have your, playhead, click this, it creates a keyframe there. That means that it's storing, so it's literally storing the position, right? In this time here. I don't know whether you understand. So a keyframe is like an object that stores the value of every property. So I can store the value of the position, of the scale, of the rotation, of the opacity, anything. So I just want to store the value of the position. So I'll click this eyedropper tool and I will have this. Then let's now say at this position, I want it. So let's say at this time, 7 seconds. Okay, no, let's say 2 seconds after 2 seconds. I want it to, so I'll move, let me move it down or something. Now, let me now go back. You see, it's moving. So at this frame, it's here. At this frame, it's here, right? You might, and you have to make sure that you are exactly where, let me zoom in. So I can zoom in on my timeline with these two buttons, zoom in and zoom out. So let me zoom in so I can see it well. Let me zoom in more. No, it's too much. So at this frame, you should be here. At this frame, you should be here, right? So let me do it for the splash as well. So expand the transform for my position. I want it at this frame. Let me click the edge of this thing here first. Now, at this frame, you are here. Then, where did this one end? Let me see. Okay, here. A simple trick, if you want to snap, what they call snap, you know, to, I think the best example, if you try it yourself, you see what I'm talking about. If I scroll now like this, it might be hard to like stop exactly where I want to stop. But if I were to hold the shift button while I'm scrolling, it will snap. You see, you just snap to that keyframe to snap. So it's just a simple trick. You don't have to do it. But to help you easily snap to keyframes, just hold shift while you are moving. It will snap. So I'm just doing that because I want it to stop. I want this one to stop where that one stopped to. So I'll move. I can do it manually here if I want to. I can drag it here. Whichever, I still the position is moving. So yeah. So now you can see that these two are moving, right? It's a very boring move. We talked about principles of animations, ease in and ease out. But I'm not going to do that. We're just talking about the simple idea of how things can move in animation. So when we meet next week physically, I'm going to really, dive into these things a lot, and start expanding on how we can really animate things. But the basic concept is that everything can be animated. So now let me now quickly end it by so let's try and be creative a bit. So let's say this is the beginning of the advert. I think I want this is the bottle, right? Yeah. I want the bottle to start here. I don't want it to end here. So I would see this keyframe, I will move it. I can move it. So this is where it's so I want it and I want here. So I actually like switched it. So the bottle should be maybe let me move it here. So this is it. And I also want the splash. I want to flip it around. So I want it that this one will be here. So I want it to start from this position. Then it will now end here. So let's see it. I think it's too what do you call it now? It's too slow. So let me make it faster. Let me drag this thing so it will happen quicker. So let's see again. Okay, okay. Now I've not added any easy nor ease out or any principle. We're just doing basic stuff. Then I think this splash, I want the splash to first to not be visible, then to not be visible at the end. So I would animate the opacity. So I'll click this eyedropper tool. I mean stopwatch. Click it here. Now I want it to be at 0 at the beginning. So I'll make it 0 first of all. Then when it now comes to the end, it will not be fully visible. Maybe here 100. Now what will happen is that over time it's going to be moving from 0 to 100, as you can see. Right? Then let's see. Yeah. Let's animate the text too. This text. So let's say okay. So let's say the first thing that would appear will be the bottle. Then next we will now animate the text. So let me drop this thing so that it won't be confusing because there are too many things open now. It might look very confusing. Um, let's do this one. So after this bottle has appeared here, text will now come. So let's say at this point the text is actually going to be invisible. So I will open my properties, transform. I want this thing to be at this point. Click this tool. I want it to be 0. Then at this point, maybe here, it will now be 100. Now you can see what happened. The moment you click this stopwatch tool, it activates, it becomes animatable. So anything I adjust over time, it will add a keyframe for it. So just click this thing once, right? This tells you that you are enabling animation for that layer. It's not every time you click it, just a disclaimer. So that you are not like, how come it's not working again? Because if I do click this button again, you're going to disable all the animation on this layer. That's not what we want. We just click it once, right? Click it once. It will create a keyframe. We'll now come over and just adjust the properties. That's all we want. So let's see, it's gonna happen like this. So the bottle first does this thing, then this one now comes. Then lastly, we'll now see get yours now. So let's say this one will now appear lastly. So let me close this thing again so I will not be confusing. Let's open our get yours now. Transform, click this. It will be at 0 here. From here, it's gonna be at 100. So this is how the animation plays out. Yeah, and that's the end of the animation. Quite simple. So yeah, we would explore this in our next class. We'll go deeper into After Effects and we'll also work with more designs. We would explore using Canva. How we can animate our Canva designs in After Effects. And yeah, so I guess we're actually going to have a lot of things to do. Um, and I'm sure if you are, so I would advise us that we should be available for the physical class. I cannot even tell you the importance of being available, but I'm sure you probably know how invaluable it would be to be there. So I think we're done for today. Any questions before I round up for this evening? Questions, please ask your questions. If something was not clear to you, please feel free to ask the question so I can address it now before we round up for today. No questions? Okay. I guess that means we are all good, we're all clear. So I would give us an assignment, just like what I did now. I want you to go back home and I want you to see how you can do your own design. You see what I did? I just downloaded images online. I did it very quickly. So let's see what you can come up with. Try and do your animation, you know. Um, just try. Start from the beginning, do your layout, you know, get your bottle, get your splash, just try it and see. Then when we meet physically, then we will see what you guys come up with. You can try and copy this example if you want, or do your own design if you want. But let's just see how you can create your designs and animate them. Let's see what you come up with. Okay, so I guess it's the end of the class. Thank you for sticking around. But like I said, it's all for our benefit. So let's just try and be more around for all our meetings. Thank you guys for staying this late. I guess we'll be done for today. Have a good rest of the day.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you.